Stay silent, and the world begins to whisper, not with the clamor of outward voices or the commotion of restless movement, but with subtle signs, signs that emerge like ripples from the stillness of your own being. The truth is that silence isn't emptiness. It is the fertile ground where the seeds of imagination root themselves, where the unseen takes form. You do not beg or plead in silence, you assume. You do not ask from desperation, you receive with certainty. And when you remain still, inwardly convinced, the outer world moves to echo what you believe within. The outer world is nothing more than a mirror. It reflects not what you want, not what you scream for, but what you are. And what you are is what you accept as true in the silence of your inner conversations. When you remain silent, you starve doubt of its oxygen. You stop feeding your fears with words. You cease reaffirming your limitations with complaints, and you shut the door to conflicting beliefs. You create a sanctuary within, a space where only your chosen vision is allowed to dwell. And when you do this, manifestation becomes a natural unfolding, not a miracle, but a law. There is a mystery that unfolds when you stop telling the world your plans and instead begin feeling the reality of them. Silence is not withdrawal, it is dominion. It is not weakness, it is control. To be silent is to trust that your inner world is the creative womb. It is to rest in the knowledge that your assumption carries power, that what you dwell upon with feeling becomes flesh. In the absence of external noise, in the quiet of self-certainty, the signs begin to appear. You see repeating numbers. You overhear a conversation echoing your desire. You stumble upon a door you didn't even know existed. But these are not accidents. These are signals from a world responding to your inner state. Remain silent and steady. Don't explain your vision to those who cannot see it. Don't dilute your desire by seeking validation from minds not aligned with it. Instead, close your eyes and embody the wish fulfilled. Feel the warmth of it in your bones. Walk as though it has already unfolded. Speak to no one if you must, but speak to yourself inwardly with unwavering clarity. That is the true creative word. And once that inner word is spoken, remain still. Do not fuss with the process. Do not dig up the seed to check if it's growing. Simply remain silent and watch how the universe begins to organize itself in your favor. The signs do not appear to those who are anxious. They do not reveal themselves to those who chase and grasp. They come gently, quietly, to the one who has stilled their mind and aligned their heart. When you no longer need to convince others, or even yourself, that your desire is real, that's when it becomes real. Not later, not someday, but now, and though you may not yet see the full structure, you will see the shadows it casts. You will see the hints, the echoes, the arrangements forming around you. Stay silent and you will understand that the world is not responding to your words. It is responding to your state. Silence aligns you with the feeling of the wish fulfilled, making manifestation effortless. The outer world reflects your inner assumptions, not your spoken desires. Manifestation signs appear when you trust the unseen and withdraw from external validation. Silence aligns you with the feeling of the wish fulfilled, making manifestation effortless. In silence, there is no contradiction. There is no noise of fear, no voice of reason to argue against your desire, no interference from opinions trying to measure possibility. Silence becomes the sacred space where you imagine clearly, where you embody the end without interruption. It is in this stillness that the inner world becomes vivid, alive, and dominant. The feeling of the wish fulfilled is not a passing thought. It is a dwelling, a resting place, and in silence, you settle into it fully. You begin to live from it rather than striving toward it. You are no longer rehearsing how it will come or defending your desire. You are simply being the one who already possesses it. When you remain silent, you stop leaking your power through external discussion. Every time you speak of your desire from a place of need or frustration, you reinforce the absence of it. But when you hold your desire silently and saturate it with feeling, you align with it completely. You bypass logic and go directly to conviction. Silence is not passivity, it is mastery. It allows you to move beyond the senses and root yourself in the unseen reality that already exists within. And when the feeling becomes real to you, your outer world begins to echo it. Not by effort, not by striving, but by alignment. Manifestation no longer feels like work, it becomes a natural consequence of being. In this silence, imagination has no critics. The mind is undisturbed, and belief takes root quickly. You become receptive to guidance, to intuition, and to the subtle nudges that lead you to fulfillment. You stop interrupting the process with doubt, and instead you carry the feeling quietly, like a secret joy. This is the sacred inner agreement that moves mountains, rearranges circumstances, and magnetizes resources. It is not your words that move the world. It is the state you occupy in the silence of your soul. When you assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled and rest in it silently, you become the cause, and everything around you must conform. The outer world reflects your inner assumptions, not your spoken desires. What you see around you is not random, and it is not dictated by what you say out loud. It is shaped by what you consistently accept as true within yourself. Your inner world is the blueprint, and the outer world is merely the construction. It cannot build what has not first been imagined, believed, and emotionally accepted. When you look at your life, you are looking at a mirror, and that mirror does not lie. It doesn't reflect your pleas or affirmations if they're not aligned with your core belief. It reflects your state of being, what you truly assume to be yours, whether consciously or not. This is why repeated verbal requests without inner conviction often lead to frustration. The world doesn't change because you talk about what you want. It changes because you embody what you want as already real. When you assume that something is yours and you live from that feeling inwardly, even without saying a word, your world responds. Circumstances shift, people move, opportunities open. Not because you forced them, but because the law is always at work, reflecting back your inner state. You don't manifest by convincing others or trying to prove anything. You manifest by stepping into the version of yourself that has already received. Your assumptions carry the weight of authority, and the world bows to them without question. You can walk through life silently, but if your assumptions are clear, your reality will speak for you. If you assume you are abundant, the signs of abundance will appear. If you assume you are loved, love will find its way to you. The words you speak are powerless unless they are backed by this inner knowing. What matters most is not what you say, but what you silently believe. To change your life, you must change your assumptions. Not your outer actions first, not your conversations with others, but the story you're repeating to yourself in the silence of your own mind. The world does not respond to noise, it responds to vibration, and vibration is set by assumption, by what you have accepted as reality. This is the reason the same people can say the same affirmations and get different results. It is not the language, but the level of inner agreement. Manifestation signs appear when you trust the unseen and withdraw from external validation. Trust is not passive waiting. It is an inner agreement with your desire, a calm certainty that what you have imagined is already on its way, or more accurately, already yours. When you trust, you no longer search for confirmation in the world around you, because you know that the world will eventually reflect what you've claimed within. You stop asking others if it's possible. You stop checking for evidence. You stop seeking signs with desperation, and instead, signs begin to appear naturally, not to convince you, but to affirm what you already know inside. The paradox is that the moment you no longer need signs to believe, signs begin to show up everywhere. They are not forced, they flow. You notice conversations, symbols, numbers, opportunities, and synchronicities that all point to your desire. But they didn't come to make you believe. They came because you already believed. When you detach from the need to see immediate results and rest in inner confidence, the universe begins to organize itself in response to your vibration. Manifestation signs are not the cause of belief. They are the result of it. External validation is a distraction from creation. It pulls your focus outward, where you become reactive instead of creative. It invites comparison, doubt, and the fear of being misunderstood. But when you withdraw your attention from the need to explain, prove, or justify your desires, you reclaim your power. You no longer dilute your energy by seeking approval from others who do not understand the language of imagination. Instead, you cultivate your vision privately, in stillness, and from that stillness, everything begins to unfold. When you stay rooted in the unseen, you begin to live in a way that is guided from within. Your actions become inspired, your timing becomes perfect, and your world becomes fertile with signs. But all of this begins when you stop demanding evidence from the outside world and begin generating conviction from within. The more you trust without needing a single shred of proof, the more proof begins to surround you. Not because you chased it, but because your inner world led the way. You see signs not because you're looking for them, but because you have become aligned with the reality they represent. So practice this art. Step back from noise. Withdraw your energy from endless talk and analysis. Go within. Assume the feeling of your desire fulfilled. Let it settle deep into your consciousness. Then go about your day without resistance, without explanation. Carry the stillness within you, and as surely as night follows day, you will begin to see manifestation signs everywhere. Not because you forced them into existence, but because you became the one who already has what they desire. In that silence you became the cause, and the world, as it must, bows to your inner decree.